Your soulmate who broke your heart is now facing karma. Everything is coming back to them. Don't scroll past this moment because what you're about to hear is not about revenge, it's about truth, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you've tried to convince yourself that you're healed, detached, or done thinking about them. Listen to this carefully and stay till the end, because karma doesn't arrive loudly at first, it arrives quietly, internally, in places no one else can see. What's unfolding for your soulmate right now is not punishment, it's reflection. The same emotions they dismissed in you are now rising in them without warning. The same confusion they left you sitting with is now visiting them in moments they thought were safe. Karma does not chase people down the street, it meets them in stillness. It shows up late at night when distractions fade. It shows up in conversations that suddenly feel empty. It shows up when the validation they once relied on stops working. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you didn't imagine the imbalance. You didn't overreact. You didn't love too deeply. You were simply ahead of them emotionally, and when someone benefits from your depth without honoring it, the universe remembers. Don't scroll, listen to this. Karma doesn't move on your timeline, it moves on theirs, and that's why you weren't meant to witness it directly. If you had seen it too early, it would have pulled you back into a cycle you already outgrew. Instead, you were removed so the lesson could land cleanly. Somewhere right now, your soulmate is feeling an unfamiliar heaviness, a sense that something is missing even when everything looks fine on the outside. That's karmic awareness. It's the moment when distraction fails and truth slips through. This message is for you because your healing triggered this process. When you stopped begging for clarity, when you stopped explaining your pain, when you stopped shrinking to keep the connection alive, the energetic contract broke. And when a contract breaks, the debt becomes visible. Your heart needs this right now because you are not responsible for what they're feeling now. You didn't cause their discomfort by moving on. You revealed it by no longer absorbing it for them. Listen closely. Karma often begins as memory. They start replaying moments they once rushed past. Your tears. Your patience. Your willingness to stay when it was inconvenient. Those memories don't arrive as nostalgia, they arrive as realization. Realization that something real was mishandled. Realization that love is not guaranteed to wait forever. Realization that access to your heart was not a right, it was a privilege. And privileges revoked don't come back the same way. Don't scroll, stay with this. While you've been learning to breathe again, to trust yourself again, to sit with your emotions without shame, they've been running from theirs. But emotions don't disappear when avoided, they store themselves. And karma is simply the moment the storage breaks open. Your heart needs this reminder right now because the universe never asks you to defend your worth. It enforces it naturally. You may have noticed subtle signs already, not from them directly, but from life around you. Angel numbers appearing during moments of peace, not longing. 222 reminding you that balance has been restored. 555 signaling that the cycle has turned. 999 confirming that what ended did so completely for a reason. These are not signs asking you to go back. They are confirmations that you're protected from repeating the same lesson. Listen to this carefully. Karma doesn't mean they suffer so you can smile. Karma means they finally feel what they avoided feeling when it mattered most. It means they sit with the weight of choices they once justified. It means they experience the emotional consequences without you cushioning the fall. That is not cruelty. That is justice through awareness. Your heart needs this right now because you were never meant to be the place where their emotional accountability went to die. You were meant to be a mirror, and mirrors don't soften reflections. Somewhere, they may feel the urge to reach out, not always to apologize, sometimes just to confirm you're still there. That urge itself is karmic. It's the nervous system remembering safety after it's gone. Whether they act on it or not doesn't change what's already happening internally. The reckoning isn't in their messages, it's in their silence. Silence that feels louder than any argument ever did. Don't scroll, listen. Karma also arrives through contrast. They may meet people who give them what they once gave you: inconsistency, emotional distance, half-commitment. Suddenly the behavior that felt normal when they were doing it feels unbearable when it's done to them. That's not coincidence. That's empathy arriving late. Your heart needs this reminder right now because delayed empathy still teaches the lesson, even if it doesn't repair the damage. You might wonder if they're thinking of you specifically. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Karma doesn't always point to one person, it points to a pattern. But you were the moment the pattern was exposed. You were the experience that marked the turning point. And that's why your name, your energy, your presence may surface in their thoughts without invitation. Listen carefully. While karma works on them, something else is happening for you. Your nervous system is recalibrating. You're learning that love doesn't have to hurt to be meaningful. You're realizing that peace feels unfamiliar because chaos used to feel like connection. That realization is huge. Your heart needs this right now because healing doesn't always feel like happiness at first. Sometimes it feels like boredom, neutrality, calm. That's not emptiness, that's regulation. And regulated hearts attract regulated love. The universe isn't preparing you to watch their downfall. It's preparing you to step into something cleaner, steadier, and mutual. Karma clearing behind you means the path ahead is unobstructed. Don't scroll, stay till the end. This chapter is not about them getting what they deserve, it's about you no longer carrying what was never yours. You carried the emotional labor, the patience, the forgiveness, the hope. Now those things are returning to you as strength, discernment, and self-trust. Karma doesn't ask you to celebrate. It asks you to release. And release is what frees you completely. If you've been questioning whether moving on was right, let this message settle you. You didn't abandon love. You honored it by refusing to accept less than respect. That choice shifted everything. The universe saw it. Karma responded to it. And you are no longer entangled in the outcome. Listen closely. The reason this is happening now is because you're ready to stop defining yourself by the wound. The story is changing. The energy is changing. And what comes next will not require you to bleed to prove you care. Stay grounded in this truth. If this message helped you feel seen, supported, or steadied, stay connected here, because what's unfolding next is not about looking back. It's about finally receiving what matches who you've become. There is a moment that arrives quietly, almost unnoticed, when the energy fully turns, and this is where you are now, even if you didn't mark it with a date or a dramatic realization, because this message is for you and your heart needs this right now in a way that feels steady instead of overwhelming. Listen carefully. After karma begins working internally on someone, it doesn't rush to resolve anything. It settles in and starts rearranging their inner world piece by piece. While you've been learning how to feel safe in your own silence again, they've been discovering how loud their own thoughts are when there's no one left to distract them from themselves. That's how karma deepens. Not through chaos, but through awareness that can't be turned off. You may not see this happening, but you don't need to, because the universe never asks the healed to monitor the lesson of the one who caused the wound. Stay with this moment, don't scroll away from this feeling, because something important is happening inside you too. The more they are forced to sit with their choices, the more your nervous system releases the responsibility it once carried for both of you. That release is subtle. It feels like fewer emotional spikes. Like not replaying conversations anymore. Like finally believing that you didn't fail at love, you simply outgrew a situation that refused to grow with you. Your heart needs this reminder right now because healing often looks boring before it looks beautiful. Somewhere, the person who broke your heart is encountering emotional resistance where there used to be ease. Conversations feel shallow. Connections feel rushed. Validation doesn't land the same way. That's not bad luck, that's calibration. They are meeting versions of themselves reflected back through other people, and it's uncomfortable because it removes the illusion that the problem was always external. Listen closely. Karma isn't trying to humiliate them, it's trying to teach them emotional accountability. And accountability always feels heavier when it arrives late. You may wonder why this lesson didn't come when you were still together. It's because some people can't hear truth while being held by someone else's patience. They only hear it when the holding stops. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you were never meant to be the container for someone else's growth. You were meant to be the catalyst, not the classroom. As this unfolds, you may notice something unexpected in yourself. Compassion without attachment. You can acknowledge that they're struggling without feeling pulled back into the dynamic. That's growth. That's emotional differentiation. It means you can care without self-abandoning. And that ability didn't come from theory, it came from pain you survived and learned from. Listen to this carefully. The universe is very intentional about timing. Karma didn't activate when you were still emotionally invested because that would have tethered you to their outcome. It activated when you were strong enough to let go without bitterness. That's why the energy feels different now. Lighter. Cleaner. Less charged. You're no longer asking why. You're no longer checking for signs tied to them. Instead, signs are showing up to affirm you. You might see repeating numbers when you choose yourself instead of nostalgia. 333 when you speak your truth. 444 when you hold a boundary without guilt. 888 when you realize you don't need closure to feel complete. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that the lesson has moved through you fully. Somewhere else, karma is still doing its work. They may feel regret not as longing, but as recognition. Recognition that what they lost wasn't just a person, but an energy that made them feel more human, more seen, more grounded. And losing that doesn't always inspire action. Sometimes it inspires reflection. Sometimes it inspires silence. Silence that lingers. Silence that teaches. Your heart needs this reminder right now because silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the lesson is internal. You don't need them to apologize for karma to be real. You don't need them to come back for justice to exist. Karma isn't about reunion. It's about balance. And balance is already being restored. As you continue forward, you may notice your standards changing effortlessly. You're no longer impressed by intensity without consistency. You're no longer moved by words without behavior. You're no longer tempted to explain your needs to someone who isn't listening. That shift is permanent. That's how you know the cycle has ended. Listen carefully. The reason you're hearing this now is because you're standing at the edge of a new emotional chapter. One that doesn't begin with proving your worth or overgiving to earn love. It begins with mutual recognition. The universe doesn't bring that kind of connection into a heart that's still bleeding. It brings it into a heart that's scarred but stable. Somewhere behind you, karma is finishing its work. Somewhere ahead of you, alignment is preparing what matches the version of you that no longer confuses pain with passion. Stay with this truth. Let it settle. You don't need to look back to confirm that justice exists. You are living proof that healing does. There comes a point where karma stops feeling like something happening to someone else and starts feeling like a quiet confirmation inside you. And if you're here right now, this message is for you because your heart needs this right now even if you haven't named it that way yet. Don't scroll, stay with this feeling, because this phase is subtle and powerful at the same time. After karma begins reshaping the inner world of the person who broke your heart, it also completes something in you that you didn't realize was still open. Not pain, not longing, but vigilance. That constant emotional alertness you carried for so long, the part of you that stayed slightly braced, slightly guarded, even on good days. That's what's dissolving now. Listen to this carefully. When karma balances a connection, it doesn't just correct the one who caused harm, it releases the one who carried the weight. You are no longer holding emotional space for someone who refused to hold it with you. And that release creates a kind of peace that doesn't need celebration to be real. Your heart needs this reminder right now because peace often arrives quietly after chaos, and if you expect fireworks, you might miss it. Somewhere, the person who once dismissed your feelings is now learning what it's like to sit with theirs without an escape. They may feel restless, unsettled, emotionally tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. That's karmic processing. It's the mind and heart trying to reconcile actions with consequences. Meanwhile, something very different is happening to you. You're beginning to trust your emotional instincts again. You're no longer second-guessing your reactions or wondering if you were too much. You're realizing you were responding appropriately to an imbalance that needed attention. Listen closely. Karma doesn't always look like regret. Sometimes it looks like repetition. They may find themselves in situations that mirror the dynamic they once created with you. Being misunderstood. Being emotionally deprioritized. Being made to wait for clarity that never comes. That's not the universe being cruel. That's the universe teaching through experience instead of explanation. And you don't need to witness it directly for it to be real. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are not meant to be the audience to their lesson. You are meant to be the graduate of yours. As this chapter settles further, you may notice that memories of them no longer carry the same emotional charge. They arise neutrally, like old photographs instead of open wounds. That neutrality is not coldness. It's integration. It means the experience has found its proper place in your story. You don't deny it. You don't romanticize it. You simply understand it. Listen to this carefully. Understanding is the final stage of healing, not forgiveness. Forgiveness can happen early or late. Understanding only arrives when you no longer need the past to explain your present. And that's where you are now. Somewhere else, karma is still unfolding. They may experience moments of clarity followed by resistance. Awareness followed by avoidance. That back and forth is common when growth arrives without preparation. Growth is uncomfortable when it's overdue. Your heart needs this reminder right now because their struggle is not your responsibility. You did not cause their awakening. You merely stopped preventing it by leaving. As the energy continues to shift, you may feel more emotionally selective. Not closed, but discerning. You don't feel the need to open your heart to everyone who shows interest. You're no longer impressed by charm alone. You're attuned to consistency, presence, and emotional safety. That attunement is the direct result of what you endured. Pain sharpened your awareness. Healing refined it. Listen carefully. The universe does not waste suffering. Everything you felt had a purpose, and now that purpose is becoming visible through your boundaries, your calm, and your clarity. You might notice angel numbers or subtle synchronicities at moments when you affirm yourself instead of doubting. 111 when you choose peace over revisiting the past. 444 when you hold steady even if you feel lonely for a moment. 777 when you sense that something better is aligning even if you can't see it yet. These signs are not pushing you toward the person who hurt you. They are anchoring you in the truth that you are protected from repeating the same lesson. Somewhere behind you, karma is completing a cycle. Somewhere ahead of you, a different kind of love is forming. And that love doesn't require you to convince, chase, or endure silence as a test. Your heart needs this reminder right now because the love meant for you will recognize your value without having to lose you first. If the person who broke your heart ever reaches out from this karmic place, it will feel different. Not because they've changed overnight, but because you have. You won't feel pulled. You won't feel destabilized. You'll feel aware. And awareness gives you choice. Choice without fear. Choice without guilt. Choice rooted in self-respect. Listen to this moment closely. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are defined by what you learned. And what you learned has changed the trajectory of your life. Karma is not about watching someone else fall. It's about watching yourself rise without needing them to acknowledge the fall. Stay with this calm. Let it ground you. You are not waiting for justice. You are living in alignment. And alignment always leads you forward, never back. There is a deeper shift that happens after awareness settles in, and if you're feeling a strange mix of calm and clarity right now, this message is for you and your heart needs this right now even if you can't fully explain why. Stay with me, don't scroll away from this moment, because this stage is where karma finishes its work in ways that are invisible but permanent. After the initial realization, after the emotional reckoning begins for the one who hurt you, karma moves into a quieter phase, one that rewires how they relate to the world and how you relate to yourself. You may notice that you no longer feel the urge to check on them energetically. You're not curious about their life. You're not secretly hoping they regret anything. That absence of curiosity is not indifference, it's resolution. Your heart needs this reminder right now because true closure doesn't come from answers, apologies, or explanations, it comes from no longer needing them. Somewhere, the person who broke your heart is encountering emotional friction in places that once felt effortless. Things that used to flow now require effort. Relationships that once distracted now feel hollow. Conversations that once entertained now feel repetitive. This isn't bad luck following them. It's karma stripping away the surface-level fulfillment that kept them from going inward. And while that's happening, something very important is happening for you too. You're beginning to feel emotionally sovereign. You no longer adjust your mood based on someone else's behavior. You no longer internalize distance as rejection. You no longer confuse inconsistency with mystery. That's not accidental. That's earned. Listen carefully. Karma doesn't rush lessons because rushed lessons don't integrate. The person who hurt you may feel moments of regret mixed with defensiveness. They may oscillate between self-blame and justification. That internal conflict is part of the karmic process. It's the psyche trying to reconcile who they believe themselves to be with the impact of their actions. You don't need to witness this struggle. You don't need confirmation. Your peace is the confirmation. Your heart needs this reminder right now because peace that doesn't depend on external validation is the strongest kind of healing. As this chapter deepens, you may notice that your emotional memory has softened. You remember what happened, but you don't relive it. The emotional charge is gone. That's because your nervous system has finally released the threat response tied to that relationship. You're no longer bracing for abandonment, silence, or emotional withdrawal. That release creates space for something new, not immediately, not dramatically, but steadily. Somewhere, karma is teaching them what emotional absence feels like when it's no longer cushioned by your patience. They may feel unseen in rooms where they once felt admired. They may feel unheard in conversations where they once dominated. That's not punishment. That's perspective. Your heart needs this reminder right now because perspective is what transforms people, not guilt. And transformation doesn't always lead back to you. Sometimes it leads people away from the patterns that caused harm in the first place. That's still karmic balance. As days pass, you may notice that your intuition feels sharper. You trust your first feeling again. You don't overanalyze red flags. You don't rationalize behavior that feels off. That discernment was born from pain, but it matured through healing. Listen carefully. The universe does not give discernment to people who haven't learned to honor themselves. You earned this. You also may notice that signs from the universe feel different now. Less urgent. Less repetitive. More affirming. Angel numbers may appear when you're grounded, not when you're spiraling. 222 when you're choosing balance over reaction. 555 when you're stepping into a new version of yourself without fear. 999 when an old emotional loop finally closes. These are not signs pointing backward. They're confirmations that the karmic lesson has been completed on your end. Somewhere else, karma is still unfolding for them because lessons land differently depending on readiness. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you don't need them to learn their lesson for you to move forward fully. You already did. As this phase continues, you may realize that you no longer identify with the role you once played in that relationship. You're no longer the fixer, the empathic anchor, the one who waits, explains, or hopes. You're simply yourself, whole, present, and emotionally available to what aligns. That identity shift is profound. It means you've stopped defining love through endurance. Love no longer means staying when it hurts. It means choosing what feels safe, mutual, and real. Somewhere, the person who hurt you may feel the absence of that energy more acutely than they expected. They may realize too late that what you offered wasn't common. That realization doesn't always lead to reconciliation, but it always leads to respect, sometimes silently, sometimes privately. Listen closely. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. Silence is often where the deepest karmic lessons take root. You don't need to break that silence. You don't need to fill it with meaning. Let it do its work. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are not meant to reopen a chapter just to confirm that it's over. You already know. As you stand here now, there is a subtle sense of readiness inside you, not urgency, not impatience, but openness. Openness to receive something different. Something that doesn't mirror old wounds. Something that doesn't require you to shrink or struggle. That openness is the reward of karmic completion. And the universe responds to openness with alignment. Listen carefully. The love that comes next will not ask you to prove your worth through suffering. It will meet you where you are, not where you were hurt. Karma clearing behind you means the path ahead is no longer obstructed by unresolved energy. You are free. Not dramatically, not loudly, but truly. Let that truth settle. You don't need to look back to make sense of what happened. You are already living the result of choosing yourself. And that choice changed everything. There is a quiet certainty that settles in after everything loud has already passed, and if you feel that steady breath inside your chest right now, this message is for you because your heart needs this right now even if you're no longer asking the universe for signs or explanations. Stay with me and don't scroll away from this feeling, because this is the stage where karma completes the circle without drama. After awareness, after release, after discernment, something final takes shape inside you: trust. Not trust in another person, but trust in your own perception. You finally believe what you felt back then. You no longer debate whether you were too sensitive or imagined the imbalance. You understand that love didn't fail because you loved deeply, it failed because depth was not met with responsibility. That understanding didn't come overnight. It arrived slowly, through nights where you chose rest over rumination, through mornings where you chose yourself instead of replaying what could have been. And now, that understanding has become embodied. Your heart needs this reminder right now because embodied truth doesn't argue, it simply exists. Somewhere, the person who broke your heart is living inside the echo of choices they once minimized. Karma at this stage is no longer sharp or shocking, it's persistent. It shows up as emotional fatigue. As a lack of fulfillment even when things appear fine. As a sense that something meaningful slipped through their fingers without them noticing at the time. They may attempt to recreate the feeling they had with you through distractions, through busyness, through new connections, but it doesn't land the same way because the lesson isn't about replacing you, it's about understanding themselves. That's how karma deepens. It removes substitutes. It strips away shortcuts. It insists on introspection. Meanwhile, your inner world is stabilizing in ways you once prayed for. You're not emotionally hijacked by memories anymore. When thoughts arise, they pass. When emotions surface, you hold them without judgment. You've learned how to self-soothe without suppressing. That skill alone changes the trajectory of your future relationships. Listen closely. The universe doesn't reward people by taking revenge on others. It rewards people by restoring their alignment. And alignment is what you're experiencing now. You might notice that you no longer feel the urge to explain your story to anyone who doesn't already understand. You don't need to convince. You don't need to justify. You don't need validation to feel grounded. That's because your nervous system has recalibrated from survival to presence. Your heart needs this reminder right now because presence is the foundation of healthy love. Somewhere else, karma is revealing to them how much emotional labor you carried quietly. They may recognize it only after encountering relationships where no one does what you did. Where patience is conditional. Where empathy is transactional. Where presence has limits. That contrast teaches what words never could. And you don't need to witness the teaching for it to be real. As this phase unfolds, you may sense a subtle shift in how you imagine the future. It feels less urgent, less pressured, less like something you must chase. You trust that what aligns will find you because you are no longer running from yourself. That trust is earned. It comes from surviving heartbreak without becoming bitter. From choosing clarity over chaos. From letting karma do its work without interfering. Listen carefully. There is a reason you weren't meant to confront them, explain yourself again, or demand accountability. Those actions would have tethered you to their timeline. Instead, you stepped back, and in that space, the universe stepped in. Karma doesn't respond to anger, it responds to boundaries. The moment you chose your own emotional safety, the energetic contract shifted. That shift is irreversible. You may notice that your standards now operate quietly. You don't announce them. You don't threaten with them. You simply live by them. People either meet you there or they don't. That ease is new, and it's powerful. Your heart needs this reminder right now because ease is not a sign of apathy, it's a sign of maturity. Angel numbers may appear sporadically now, not as guidance but as affirmation. 111 when you feel clear in your choices. 444 when you feel supported in stillness. 888 when abundance shows up in unexpected forms, not just romantic but emotional, creative, and personal. These signs are not about the past. They're about the path you're on now. Somewhere behind you, karma is still unfolding because lessons don't collapse all at once, they layer. They integrate. They settle. For them, that may look like moments of insight followed by discomfort. For you, it looks like calm followed by confidence. That contrast tells you everything you need to know. Listen to this carefully. You are no longer defined by what you endured. You are defined by how you integrated it. Integration is what allows you to move forward without dragging old energy into new spaces. That's why you feel different now. Lighter, but also stronger. Softer, but also clearer. You may even notice that you're no longer attracted to the same dynamics that once pulled you in. Emotional unavailability doesn't feel intriguing anymore, it feels exhausting. Mixed signals don't feel exciting, they feel unnecessary. That shift is profound. It means the karmic loop has closed on your end. And when a loop closes, it does not reopen. It simply becomes a lesson archived within wisdom. Somewhere, karma may bring them to the edge of accountability. Whether they step into it or turn away is their choice. But that choice no longer affects your direction. Your heart needs this reminder right now because freedom is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It feels like relief you didn't know you were carrying. As you move through this final phase, allow yourself to trust the quiet. Trust the absence of urgency. Trust the steadiness of your breath when you think about the future. That steadiness is the universe confirming that you are no longer entangled in what broke you. You have outgrown the role of the wounded one. You are now the grounded one. And from this place, what comes next will not ask you to prove your worth through pain. It will recognize you immediately. There is a final kind of understanding that arrives without effort, and if you're here now, feeling steady instead of emotional, grounded instead of reactive, this message is for you because your heart needs this right now even if you're not consciously thinking about the past anymore. Don't scroll away from this moment, stay with it, because this is where karma completes its work not just around you, but within you. This is the stage where you no longer measure healing by how much it hurts less, but by how little it controls you. You've reached a place where the story no longer defines your identity. It informs your wisdom, but it doesn't narrate your future. And that shift changes everything. Listen carefully. When karma fully cycles through a soul connection, it does something profound, it equalizes emotional power. The imbalance that once existed, where one person carried the depth and the other carried the distance, can no longer survive. That imbalance either corrects itself internally or collapses entirely. You are no longer holding emotional space for someone who refused to meet you there. You released that role quietly, without announcement, without confrontation, and that's why the universe responded so cleanly. Your heart needs this reminder right now because quiet boundaries are often the most powerful ones. Somewhere, the person who broke your heart is living inside the results of emotional avoidance. They may feel a strange hollowness even when surrounded by people. They may feel unseen even when being noticed. They may feel tired of connections that never go deeper than surface-level validation. That exhaustion is karmic. It's what happens when someone realizes too late that intimacy requires presence, not convenience. And while that realization unfolds for them, you are experiencing something entirely different. You are beginning to feel at home within yourself. Not euphoric. Not constantly happy. But settled. Your nervous system is no longer scanning for emotional danger. Your mind is no longer rehearsing conversations that will never happen. Your body is no longer bracing for abandonment. That level of peace doesn't come from time alone. It comes from choosing yourself repeatedly even when it was uncomfortable. Listen to this carefully. You didn't heal because they changed. You healed because you stopped waiting for them to. That choice broke the karmic tether. When you stopped hoping for accountability from someone who wasn't ready to offer it, you reclaimed your power. And power reclaimed does not need to be defended. It simply exists. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you may underestimate how far you've come. The fact that you can sit with silence without filling it with meaning is evidence of deep integration. The fact that you no longer romanticize inconsistency is evidence of growth. The fact that you no longer question your worth based on someone else's capacity is evidence of maturity. Somewhere else, karma is still teaching through repetition. They may encounter the same emotional walls they once created. They may feel frustration where they once felt control. They may crave depth where they once avoided it. That craving is karmic memory. It's the soul remembering what it lost. But memory alone doesn't restore access. Only alignment does. And alignment cannot be forced. Listen closely. The universe never intended for you to witness their realization firsthand because witnessing it would have tempted you to re-enter a dynamic that no longer serves you. Instead, you were given distance so that clarity could land fully. Distance is not separation, it's perspective. And perspective is what allowed you to see that love without reciprocity is not love, it's labor. You stopped doing unpaid emotional labor. You stopped over-functioning for someone else's comfort. That decision shifted the energetic equation permanently. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you did not lose anything of value by letting go. You gained discernment. You gained emotional stability. You gained self-trust. These are foundations, not consolation prizes. As this chapter fully closes, you may notice that your sense of timing has changed. You're no longer in a rush to arrive anywhere emotionally. You trust that what aligns will not require urgency or anxiety to maintain. That trust is magnetic. It draws connections that feel mutual without effort. Somewhere, karma is revealing to them the cost of taking someone for granted. Not through punishment, but through absence. Absence of the one person who offered consistency without conditions. Absence of the emotional safety they assumed would always be available. That absence teaches more than confrontation ever could. And you are not responsible for how that lesson lands. Listen carefully. You are no longer defined by what ended. You are defined by what you learned. And what you learned has changed how you show up in every area of your life. You speak more honestly. You listen more carefully. You walk away sooner from what feels misaligned. You don't negotiate your boundaries internally anymore. That internal alignment is why external chaos no longer hooks you. Angel numbers may appear now not as warnings or prompts, but as quiet confirmations. 111 when you feel clear and grounded. 444 when you choose peace over reaction. 999 when an old emotional cycle completes without reopening. These signs are acknowledgments, not instructions. They reflect where you are, not where you need to go. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are not waiting for karma anymore. You are beyond it. Karma served its purpose by teaching balance. Now you are living in integration. Integration is when the lesson no longer needs repetition. As you move forward, you may feel a deeper respect for yourself than ever before. Respect for how you handled pain without becoming hardened. Respect for how you chose growth without demanding validation. Respect for how you allowed the universe to handle justice while you focused on healing. That respect is self-love in its most grounded form. Listen to this moment carefully. The love that finds you next will not trigger your wounds. It will recognize your wholeness. It will feel steady, not intoxicating. Safe, not confusing. Present, not distant. And when that love arrives, you will not compare it to the past. You will simply know that you are no longer available for lessons disguised as relationships. You graduated. And graduation does not require applause. It requires readiness. You are ready. And because you are ready, the universe no longer needs to test you through pain. It can now meet you through alignment. Stay with this calm. Let it anchor you. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You are exactly where someone who chose themselves is meant to be. There is a quiet moment that arrives after everything has already been understood, not intellectually but emotionally, and if you're reading this right now with a sense of calm instead of urgency, this message is for you because your heart needs this right now in a way that feels grounding rather than dramatic. Don't scroll away from this moment. Stay with it. This is the phase where the universe is no longer teaching through pain, contrast, or loss, but through clarity. You have crossed the invisible line where the past no longer has emotional authority over you. Not because you forgot what happened, not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer defines how you see yourself or what you believe you deserve. That is the final completion of karma on your side. Listen carefully. When a karmic cycle fully closes, the need to analyze it disappears. You're not replaying conversations anymore. You're not imagining different endings. You're not secretly hoping they finally understand. Understanding is no longer your currency. Peace is. And peace does not negotiate with the past. Your heart needs this reminder right now because peace often feels unfamiliar to people who learn to equate love with emotional intensity. You may notice that your days feel quieter internally. Your emotions don't spike the way they used to. You respond instead of react. Even when something reminds you of them, it doesn't pull you backward. It simply passes through. That is not emotional numbness. That is regulation. Somewhere else, the person who broke your heart may still be circling the lesson. Karma does not always finish at the same time for both people. They may still feel waves of regret, moments of insight followed by avoidance, realizations that arrive too late to repair what was broken. That is not your burden. Your journey is no longer synchronized with theirs. Listen closely. Separation of timelines is one of the clearest signs that a karmic contract has ended. You are no longer energetically available to carry someone else's unfinished work. You carried enough. You gave enough. You stayed longer than you should have. And when you finally chose yourself, something ancient and intelligent shifted in the universe. The lesson no longer required your participation. That's why things feel different now. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you may underestimate how radical it is to stop abandoning yourself. That decision alone rewires your future. As this phase deepens, you may notice a new relationship with your own intuition. You trust it without questioning. You don't override it to keep the peace. You don't silence it to avoid conflict. When something feels off, you listen. When something feels aligned, you allow it. That trust was earned through heartbreak, but it's now guiding you toward stability. Listen carefully. Stability is not boring when it's rooted in self-respect. It's freeing. Somewhere, karma is showing them the cost of emotional shortcuts. They may encounter relationships that mirror their own past behavior. Not as punishment, but as education. Being on the receiving end of distance teaches what words never could. But whether they learn fully or partially no longer concerns you. You are no longer waiting for them to grow to validate your experience. Validation lives inside you now. Your heart needs this reminder right now because internal validation is the end of emotional dependency. You don't need to be chosen to feel worthy. You don't need to be missed to feel important. You don't need closure conversations to feel complete. Completion has already happened internally. And when completion happens internally, the universe responds externally. You may begin to notice new kinds of opportunities entering your life, not necessarily romantic at first. Opportunities that feel calm. People who feel present. Conversations that don't drain you. Moments where you realize you're laughing without thinking about the past at all. These moments are not accidental. They are evidence that your energy has changed. Listen closely. Energy doesn't lie. When you stop carrying unresolved pain, you stop attracting situations that mirror it. That's why what comes next will feel different from anything before. It won't require you to prove yourself. It won't ask you to wait. It won't keep you guessing. It will feel mutual, grounded, and clear. Your heart needs this reminder right now because clarity is what real love feels like. As this final layer settles, you may experience a deep sense of gratitude that surprises you. Gratitude not for what hurt you, but for who you became because you chose to heal instead of harden. You learned discernment. You learned boundaries. You learned that love does not require suffering to be meaningful. These lessons are permanent. They do not fade with time. They shape every decision you make moving forward. Somewhere behind you, karma has finished its work. Somewhere ahead of you, alignment is preparing something that does not repeat the past. Listen carefully. You are no longer in a karmic chapter. You are in a conscious one. Conscious chapters do not involve chaos. They involve choice. You choose where you give your energy. You choose who has access to your inner world. You choose when to walk away without guilt. That choice is freedom. And freedom does not need to be loud. It feels like relief. It feels like safety inside your own body. It feels like trusting that you don't need to control outcomes to be okay. Your heart needs this reminder right now because this is the version of you that the universe was always protecting. The version that no longer confuses intensity with intimacy. The version that no longer stays where they are not met. The version that knows love should expand your life, not shrink it. As you move forward, let yourself honor how far you've come without needing anyone else to acknowledge it. You don't need an apology to heal. You don't need an explanation to move on. You don't need karma to be visible to be real. You are the evidence that balance was restored. Listen closely. This chapter did not end with answers. It ended with wisdom. Wisdom doesn't seek validation. It lives quietly in how you choose yourself every day. Stay grounded in this truth. You are no longer carrying a wound. You are carrying knowledge. And that knowledge will guide you toward connections that recognize your worth without having to lose you first. There is a soft but unmistakable shift that happens when a soul no longer needs to look back to feel complete, and if you're sensing that quiet confidence inside you right now, this message is for you because your heart needs this right now in a way that feels settled, not searching. Stay with me and don't scroll away, because this phase isn't dramatic, it's decisive. This is where wisdom turns into instinct. You're not thinking about boundaries anymore, you're living them. You're not rehearsing what you would say if the past resurfaced, because you already know what you would do. You would stay rooted. You would stay calm. You would choose yourself without hesitation. That certainty didn't come from one moment of clarity, it came from many moments where you honored your inner truth even when it was inconvenient. Listen carefully. When a karmic cycle fully dissolves, the nervous system relaxes into a new baseline. You're no longer scanning rooms for emotional safety. You're no longer interpreting silence as danger. You're no longer confusing longing with connection. Your body knows the difference now. And when the body knows, the mind follows. Your heart needs this reminder right now because safety is the soil where real love grows. Somewhere else, karma has already done what it needed to do. It has shown them the mirror, not once, but repeatedly, until avoidance stopped working. It has removed the distractions, the substitutes, the emotional shortcuts. It has asked them to sit with themselves long enough to feel the impact of what they once dismissed. Whether they fully accept that lesson or resist it is no longer relevant to your path. You are not tied to their awakening. You are aligned with your own. Listen closely. Alignment changes the way life meets you. You may notice that people respond to you differently now. Conversations feel more respectful. Opportunities feel more timely. You're taken seriously without having to explain yourself. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. When your inner world is coherent, the outer world responds in kind. Your heart needs this reminder right now because coherence is the opposite of chaos. As this final integration settles, you might reflect on how much of your old identity was built around being needed. Being the one who understood, who stayed, who carried more than their share. You're not that person anymore, and you don't grieve that loss. You respect it. That version of you did what they needed to do to get you here. But you don't live there now. Now, you live in reciprocity. You live in presence. You live in discernment. Listen carefully. Discernment is not judgment. It's clarity without cruelty. It allows you to see what fits and what doesn't without trying to force either. That's why you feel less reactive. Less pulled. Less tempted to explain yourself to people who are not listening. Your heart needs this reminder right now because self-respect doesn't argue. It simply chooses. Somewhere behind you, the karmic chapter has closed not with a bang, but with a breath. A deep exhale that released years of emotional tension you didn't realize you were holding. That release made room for something else, trust in timing. You're no longer in a rush to define the future. You trust that what aligns will arrive when you're ready to receive it, not when fear demands certainty. Listen closely. Timing becomes trustworthy when you stop fighting it. You stopped forcing outcomes. You stopped chasing reassurance. You stopped negotiating with your intuition. And in that surrender, something clicked into place. Peace became familiar. Calm became your compass. As you move through this chapter, you may feel a growing appreciation for simplicity. Simple connections. Simple routines. Simple joys that don't require emotional labor to sustain. That appreciation is not settling, it's refinement. It means you know what matters now. Your heart needs this reminder right now because refinement is how the soul signals readiness for something real. Somewhere, karma may still be echoing for them, but echoes fade. Lessons remain. For you, the lesson has transformed into a standard. You will not bend it to keep someone comfortable. You will not lower it to avoid loneliness. You will not abandon it to recreate familiarity. That standard is quiet, but it's firm. Listen carefully. Firm standards don't push people away, they filter. They allow what aligns to come closer and what doesn't to fall away without drama. That's why your life feels lighter now. Fewer emotional entanglements. Fewer unresolved conversations. Fewer internal debates. Your energy is no longer scattered. It's focused. And focused energy is powerful. As this integration completes, you may feel a sense of gratitude for yourself that doesn't need to be spoken out loud. Gratitude for staying. Gratitude for leaving when it mattered. Gratitude for choosing growth over familiarity. That gratitude anchors the lesson so it doesn't repeat. Your heart needs this reminder right now because repetition ends when learning integrates. You are not repeating this story again. You are not attracting the same dynamic in a different form. You are not going to confuse intensity with intimacy. You have outgrown that chapter fully. Listen closely. The universe doesn't bring new beginnings into lives that are still clinging to old endings. It waits until the letting go is complete. And letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means releasing the emotional charge. That's what you've done. As you step forward, you may feel a deeper trust in yourself than you've ever known. Trust that you can walk away without guilt. Trust that you can open up without losing yourself. Trust that you can love without disappearing. That trust is the true reward of everything you endured. Somewhere ahead, a connection exists that meets you where you are, not where you were wounded. It will feel steady. It will feel mutual. It will feel clear.
Hello friends, and when it arrives, you won't question it, you won't overthink it, you will recognize it because recognition feels calm, not chaotic. Your heart needs this reminder right now because this is the version of you that was always meant to receive something aligned, not rushed, not dramatic, not conditional, just real. Stay grounded in this truth. You are no longer healing from the past. You are living from wisdom, and wisdom guides you forward with quiet confidence, not urgency. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are exactly where completion places. Someone who closed themselves less and trusted the universe to handle the rest. Thanks for watching.